Hey everyone, I'm just going to quickly share this to a couple of my pages because I think it's really super important to talk about. So I'm going to share them right now, and that's why I'm doing that now while I'm waiting just for a couple people to hop on so they can join me in this conversation. Not the right page, that page. Hey everyone, hey Liz! I'm just sharing to a couple pages of mine. Thank you for joining. I think this is a pretty important topic to share, so I thought I would do this in a wider span rather than just in my group. I'm not promoting, not selling, so I'm allowed. I'm almost there. I just want to share one more time into my private group, because this is a perfect example that even in what I do, this stuff happens to me all the time still. So this is why I called this those little voices in our heads and how they can take a back seat. So first of all, hey everyone, thanks for joining live. I'm Jessica. I'm a transformational life coach. I'm not supposed to say that on my personal page, but guess what? That's what I do. So why do I get to lie about it when it's on my personal page? I have no idea if that's truly like part of the algorithm stuff or whatever. I really just don't care, because my message that I'm trying to get across is to try and help people, not to pretend. So hey Linda, welcome. Thanks for joining. So this even happened to me this morning, and I'll get into my story quickly in a second. I really only have a quick second before I hop onto a client session of mine anyways. And I'm gonna do it, Liz, I'm gonna. But really, me only having a quick second is perfect, because that's all it takes in order to silence that little voice in our head that's trying to sabotage us. And one of the reasons why I didn't put in the title anything negative about like the little inner critics that try to crush us or sabotage us is I don't want people to run from it, because the fact of the matter is we all have little inner voices that try to slow us down, shut us off, make us smaller, quieten all the good and positive that is around us. It blocks us from seeing things. It's truth. It is what it is. So here's a perfect example. And for what I'm saying, I only have a quick sec before I get in there, is that it really only takes a quick second to shut that voice off and turn it into something better. So hey Trina, hey Becky, hey Sherry, hey Eleanor, I think Elsinore? I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I really stink at names. It's a bad thing. I'll work at that. So this would be very familiar to you if you've heard of your inner critic, your inner person, your gremlins, the people, the voices in your head that try to sabotage you and shut you down. It's things like, I can't, I won't, I don't have time, it's too hard, it's too much. Comment below other ones that I'm not saying that maybe might be something that sabotages everything as well. Hey Trina, thanks for saying hi. Thanks for popping on. Nice to see you live. But comment in the comments below, like other things that you have in your head that try and shut you down and keep you small. Like common ones are, I can't, I won't, I don't have time, I'll do it later, this isn't working for me, I'll try it a different way. It carries on. Like you try a program and it doesn't work for you for the first week and it's like, I'm just gonna give up on it. Or you have some success and then all of a sudden you feel like you're at a plateau. Same with anybody that's tried a new diet. Happens in a diet, you hit a plateau. It happens in your self-development, which I talked about this not long ago. Self-development people tend to hear and they want to run the opposite direction. Well, if I asked you the question, do you want to be happier? Would you like to live a happier life? That's exactly the same thing as self-development, because you are looking to work towards living a happier life. So if the words self-development don't work for you, just use happier, because that's what it is. The kid, exactly. Okay, Liz just shared one. The kids. I can't because of my daughter. I can't do this because of my daughter. If I do this, it's going to be too exhausting. It's going to take too long to do X, Y, Z. Although you could still do it, it's just going to take longer, right? Like what's the deal? So imagine pushing through those comments. Imagine pushing through those things in your mind, what that might look like. And if this is completely new to you, you might be like, this is a crap. I'm going the opposite direction. Don't care. Don't want to listen to this. Just hear me out for a second. Imagine pushing through those inner critics of like, oh, this is too hard. what it might feel like on the other side if you actually pushed through. What would that do for you? How would that pump you up? How would that change your day? How would that change your goal to working towards being happier and living a happier life? How would that look? Just imagine it for just a second and think about how much better you would feel. Yeah, it feels kind of hard to push through and to catch those little inner critics, those inner voices that are trying to sabotage what you're trying to work towards. But if you silence them and you work really hard to just be like, I'm pushing through and I'm going to do this, and you consistently do this over daily, make this a daily action. And I've actually, for those of you that have never read the book, The Slight Edge, it's a fantastic book because it actually simplifies it simplifies everything about just really just slowing it down and just doing daily actions. Start with one thing and make that a non-negotiable daily action. And as you compound that over time, when things do end up feeling more difficult, you'll notice that you're doing it with more ease, or you'll go through that scenario with more peace in your mind because of the fact that you have more power. You're more empowered. And even though it feels difficult, when you look back, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I did better. And that's because compounded over time, you've been practicing towards something more positive. Positive daily actions will trump any fearful situation, any negative problem situation that you're going through. It will eventually improve it to the point where maybe things like that aren't attracting anymore. I'm not going to get into the whole attraction thing. I really just wanted to talk about that inner voice that seems to sabotage us. Quick story before I hop off, because I've got a session in 7 minutes. Like this morning, for example, I have a bit of a shoulder injury. I am a farmer as well as a life coach. So when I'm doing my horse stuff, I have done a lot of stuff by lifting and throwing. I don't do a lot of this. It's a lot of lifting and throwing. And a lot of my work is always constantly like this. So I have an old injury in my left shoulder. And the exercise I was doing this morning as part of my daily routine, I could feel it. It was shoulder day and I could feel it. I looked at my records from last week of what I did, and I was like, okay, I went pretty heavy. Let's just go a little lighter because I want to complete this. Near the end of the last set, I was literally like, I had that like, I just can't do it. And I was at 8 and I was like, I just can't do it. And I'm like, who says? Just do it. And I did it. And at the end of it, I didn't feel great about it until I was completely done the workout. And I was like, I did it. And I finalized it. And it felt wonderful. Same thing with this morning. I didn't have time to read a chapter of my book, which is part of my daily morning routine. And it's been pumping me up and inspiring me and getting me on the right path. And I didn't have time to do that. And I was starting to catch myself saying like, Jessica, shit, like you didn't do your book, so you're not doing what you promised you were going to do as your daily compounded, powerful, positive actions that were going to help you in terms of, you know, my overall life. And I'm not talking just my business. I'm talking about my personal, my relationships, my friendships, my happiness, my self-development, my spiritual and relationship with myself. Like it all adds up and helps us. But I caught that little inner voice and I said, so you were busy and you chose to sleep a little longer, but you still worked out. So forgive yourself and read a chapter later. And as soon as I had that conversation with myself, I immediately forgave myself and was like, cool, tomorrow I try again. But the difference is I'm not letting myself off the hook, and I'm going to do that task. I caught my inner critic, I reversed it, and I feel good about it. And I carried on about it instead of spending my whole day sabotaging myself and making myself feel bad or wrong for not doing it exactly as I had hoped I was going to do it. That conversation could also go into a whole new direction, so I'm not going to take it there. I'm just going to quickly check some of the comments that came through. Whoa, what just came up there? Cancel that. Liz said, I need to change it to, I'm going to do it to show the kids it can be done. And that's the other thing. That's a beautiful thing you mentioned that, because we may have started off on the wrong foot as kids, but it was the right foot for us because it's teaching us what we didn't like so we can make changes now. It's never too late to make changes. It's the same with your finances. If your finances are struggling, it's never too late to start doing something now. But if you don't start now, it's not going to help you later. It's not going to, you're not 10 years down the road, you're going to be where you were today or yesterday. It's not going to change. You've got to do something. So start today, and from this day forward, daily compounded positive actions. I'll talk about that more another day. I don't want to wrap it up into another conversation. I wanted to keep this kind of short and specific because this really is about catching those little inner voices and silencing them and just say, take a hike, take a back seat. You've helped me to this point in my life, but no longer do you serve me. That's basically what you're doing. They come when I'm tired and overwhelmed. Oh, honey, when we're tired and overwhelmed, our inner critics, our negative, lower, fearful vibrations start to trump everything. It feels like it's powerhousing us. But this is a perfect time when you reach out to a friend who would be somebody that would pump you up and inspire you, or have a backup plan that you can back up and go to use to help empower you when you are at a low point. And you know, if you live alone or if you have a supportive partner that's not going to judge you, which shouldn't matter, and if you are, then that needs to change. You need to change. But if you don't have any kind of a negative atmosphere like that, put Post-its all over the bloody place and just say, remember to talk kind to yourself, or whatever it is that you want to say that's going to help you stay positive and catch those inner critics. The more you do this, the less it will affect you moving forward, the stronger it's going to empower you for forever. It's literally like picturing, read The Slight Edge, even if you just read the first chapter. If I had time, I'd grab just that little part. But he talks about, you know, the son who wanted, the father was passing, just quickly, the father was passing and he offered his children each a gift. And they had one day to figure it out because he was unfortunately passing. So the option was to take 1 penny or to take the $1 million. So long of the short is both sons came back. One chose the penny, one chose the $1 million. The one that took the $1 million went off and tried to start a company, but blew all the money right away. And over time, basically like 30, I think it was 30 days they mentioned it, but it was over time, the money had disappeared. But the one that chose the penny, which the one that chose the $1 million was like, you're crazy, why wouldn't you take the $1 million? The one that took the penny got the deal where the butler actually was in charge of the money and would put that penny away, and every single day compounded interest would build on that. And he ended up with I think tens of billions of dollars because over time compounded interest basically rewarded him because he wasn't impatient and not looking for the quick fix. The quick fix, they don't last. The quick fixes don't last. So that's what I'm trying to say to you with your inner critic, the inner voices that are trying to sabotage you daily. If you're just joining me, hey guys, I actually have to run. I've got a client session in less than 1 minute. Oh my gosh, I gotta go. But please watch this, comment below, engage in this. This is really important because there's not one person in this world, I don't care how high the guru is that you follow, there's not one person in this world that doesn't have a negative inner voice that tries to sabotage them or keep them small. And this daily compounded practice, this practice of daily actions will help you change that. Thank you for sharing the love, Steve. Hey, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for joining me. And I'm sorry that I got to run, but I don't want to be late for my client session because I love my clients and I make a promise to them too. So thank you so much for joining. Comment below. Happy to engage again and do something on this. If you need any more help, you can ask me and I am more than happy to share with you. Thanks so much for joining. Trina, I did say you saw you said something again. I start the day with positive mental food and quiet the negative noise. Good practice. Good job. And she says, forgive yourself, love yourself, start again. Good stuff, Jess. Thanks, Trina. And it really is super important. Everybody remember what Trina just said. Forgive yourself, love yourself, start again. It's good stuff. It really is good stuff. Quiet that inner voice. It's not serving you. I love you guys, and we'll talk to you later.